What is going on, guys? Now, doing another video, and welcome back to an episode of Umineko When They Cry, Episode 1, Legend of the Golden Wits. Last time we left off, things are getting interesting. The youngest cousin, Maria, was giving a lot of red flags, and it was kind of interesting. Like, I swear, something bad is going to happen in the next hour or two. So, yeah, we're just going to be hopping straight back into it. I'm sorry if I sound like I don't know if I actually do or not. I don't feel very well at the moment, but yeah, we're just gonna be hopping back in. Let's go. Gotta love that opening.
Well? おーいカノン君やないか久しぶりやな元気か
Uncle Hideyoshi suddenly shouted. In the direction he was waving was a slender boy. Meeting him right after a huge man like Goda probably emphasized the small stature. The boy was in the middle of transporting piled-up gardening tools and the like in a wheelbarrow. When he realized he was being called to stop, he set down the wheelbarrow, took his hat off, and bowed his head.
Konnichiwa.
Oh, we have an emo teen. I figured he was probably younger than me, and I realized by the general atmosphere surrounding him that he was another servant. He greeted us in response to Uncle Hideyoshi's call, but he seemed like he might be pretty unsociable most of the time. It was a greeting that lacked feeling. When Goda-san noticed that our interest shifted towards him, he went to the boy's side and introduced him to us.
バトラ様、ご紹介いたします。Ushiromiya本家にお仕えしております使用人の一人です。
Oh yes, we've unlocked another character.
お客様にご挨拶を。
はじめまして。
Yeah, no, he doesn't sound like it.
カノンです。
Yep, my first impression wasn't wrong. He seemed to be unsociable, or at least not so good at talking. Compared to Goda-san, who was extraordinarily polished as a servant, you couldn't help but feel an inexperience typical of his age. When Goda-san urged them to whisper to give a bit more of an introduction, the boy named Cannon only cast his eyes downwards.
カノンさん、もう少し何か挨拶することはできませんか
Otherwise, we'll fire you out of a cannon.
僕たちは家具ですから。
Oh. He didn't seem to be refusing to greet us out of spite. Rather, he seemed to have fallen silent because he didn't know what else to say to us in a greeting.
カノン君は寡黙でさ、余計なおしゃべりはしない性分なんだよ。愛想は少し悪いけど、根はいい人なんだぜ。誤解しないで。ここに勤めて3年になるんだっけ
Oh yeah, no, he's probably done with your bullshit.
ゴーダさんより1年長いんだよな、カノン君。
Even though he wasn't exactly giving a terrible first impression, Jessica hurriedly backed him up. I see, apparently his unsociable nature caused him trouble a lot.
そっか、よろしくな。俺はバトラ、18だけど、君はいくつだい
He fell silent as though wondering whether or not it was a question he'd have to answer. But here again, Jessica plowed ahead.
確か私たちの2つ下だから16だったよな。
He's only 16?
はい。そうです。
A servant? It looked like he would have preferred not to tell us his age if given the choice. That was probably because he thought we'd look down on him for it. Yeah, no, I'm just surprised that, like, he's so young and like a servant. I see, 16, huh? That's gotta be a delicate time. Which means I'd probably ask something else. Yeah, no, he's an emo teen right now. I understand this. I'm glad you're about our age. Why'd I just read dialogue? I do this like once every hour into the game.
俺も君のことはカノンって呼ぶぜ。
ありがとうございます。お気持ちだけで結構です。バトラ様。
Jessica looked panicky for some reason. She seemed to think my impression of Ken was getting worse because of his refusal. Well, as a girl, Jessica probably couldn't understand the frightful male herd of this age. At his elder, even by just 2 years, I took it upon myself to be understanding of that.
カノンさん、もう少し愛想よくはできませんか笑顔も使用人の義務ですよ。
申し訳ありません。努力します。
ゴーダさん、 カノン君もいろいろ頑張ってるんですよ。ねえ。
It looked like he was often warned about being unsociable, and apparently he hadn't improved one bit. Goda-san kept his business smile, but let a small sigh of resignation escape.
それではまだ仕事がありますので失礼します。
It looked like Cannon himself was uncomfortable with remaining silent here any longer. After another perfunctory bow, he turned around and started pushing the wheelbarrow again. Okay, hold up. Set up. System. Yes, we did unlock him. Servant Cannon, a young servant. He performs his duties silently and diligently, but is not so highly regarded as a servant due to his unsociable nature. There are multiple other servants with the on character in their pseudoms. He and Sanon just happened to be the ones on duty that day. Sanon? Oh. There's a servant named Sanon? Oh my god, I'm gonna get them confused. Oh no. Exit? Yep. Just then the wheelbarrow suddenly wobbled over and fell, scattering the load. I guess the wheelbarrow's single wheel got caught on a pebble and lost its balance.
何をしてるんですか。ささ、早く片付けて。
Goda-san urged them to hurry in a quiet voice as though hinting that it was shameful for a servant to appear clumsy in front of guests. Cannon-kun wordlessly reloaded the wheelbarrow with the fallen objects as if to say that he understood quite well without being told. He seemed to be fine with the light-looking gardening tools, shovels, and such, but it looked like he was having trouble getting his arms around and lifting up some sacks of fertilizer.
大丈夫かよ。そそっかしいな。ほら。
お嬢さん。
Stop trying to socialize with the emo.
ここはお任せください。
With a smooth motion, Goda-san took the shovel that Jessica had picked up. Behind him, Cannon-kun was having trouble with the sacks of fertilizer.
お召し物が汚れる？
安心しろよ。俺が着てるのはそんなお上品なものじゃねえぜ。
They look nice.
それによ。俺はレストランで落ちたフォークをウェイトレスに拾わせるってやつが大嫌いなんだ。
Oh my god, I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. I lifted up the other bags that had fallen. Of course they weren't white, but for me it was a piece of cake. Cannon-kun looked at me surprised. It was the face of someone who had never expected to receive help from a guest.
バトラー様、結構です。僕が全てやりますので。
Yeah, no, Battle would be a good
気に
person.
すんな。こう見えても鍛え方が違うぜ。
Since Cannon-kun looked like he hadn't yet gone through his growth spurt, he was stuck with a sort of weak body. This kind of weight might have been too much for him.
結構重いね。カノン君が苦労するのも無理はないよ。カノン君、気にしないで。
You know, we're the good people.
俺の見せ場さ。これでさっきの船の分はチャラだよな。
この程度のことじゃ、さっきの大騒ぎが帳消しになるもんかよ。
I'd say it does.
カノン君にも後で教えてやるよ。バトラったら面白いんだぜ。落ちる落ちる。
Okay, let's get in this house. As I did this, I piled all the stuff back into the wheelbarrow.
お見苦しいところをお見せして申し訳ございませんでした。
ささもう結構ですよ。言ってください。
When the guest who was supposed to feel welcome sees such a disgraceful thing, must have been hideously embarrassing for a servant. Pressed by Goda to hurry up and go, Cannon-kun left. Yeah, no, he's a dick. I liked him last episode, but this time... Yeah.
これは至りませんで、誠に申し訳ございませんでした。
Oh my god, you're just saying... Yeah, no, you're just saying that because they asked that. Oh my god, you're one of those
カノン
servants.
君もところはぎょうさんあるんやで。
Like what?
ただ若いんかの。
Please list
い
some
ろいろ
items.
と損をしとる。もったいないわ。
Where's the list?
気難しい年頃さ。そっとしといてやれよ。
There's no list.
使用人は寡黙なくらいがちょうどいいさ。な、熊沢さん。
ルドルフ様は手厳しゅうございますこと。私ほど使用人で寡黙なものはおりませんとも。へへ。
Everyone smiled wryly at that obvious lie. Even she herself didn't believe that, not in her wildest dreams, so she must have said it to lighten the mood. Yeah, that's the kind of character Kurosawa Batsan used to be. The once stiff atmosphere had cleared up at once thanks to her cheerful smile.
そろそろ荷物を置きたいわね。
Yeah, let's get
野田
the
さん、
hell
部
inside.
屋割りはどうなってるのかしら。
昨年と同じになっております。さあ、ご案内いたします。どうぞこちらへ。
We headed towards a trim, elegantly simple guest house. This was gonna be our temporary quarters for the night. Okay, this is gonna be our new homes for the rest of our lives. Kenan watched over our heads as though the guests all entered the guest house. Then he let his eyes fall on those heavy sacks of fertilizer piled up in the wheelbarrow. In his mind, he kept going over his previous mistake. Battle, big and strong, had picked up the sacks in front of him. The sacks Kenan couldn't lift himself, as they were feathers. It would be extremely difficult for an outside observer to guess what emotions that favor had stirred up in Kenan. But as far as you could tell by watching him hang his head, there was something that he just couldn't let go of. Muttered words escaped his lips, but those words were so soft that they didn't reach even his own ears. Is he gonna kill someone? Kenan hung his head slowly, biting his lower lip. Yeah, we're finally in the house.
このゲストハウスっつうのは記憶にねえな。これ建てたのは最近か？
Torian Visitors Retreat was written on a gatepost-like thing, but since everyone called it the guest house, I followed their lead. The brand new Western-style guest house, which stood overlooking the roses, had a magnificent design, carefully done in harmony with the garden.
正解だよ。建ったのはつい一昨年さ。それ以降は僕たちはこっちに泊めさせてもらってるんだよ。
年季の入ったボロ屋敷よりこっちの方が好評みてえだしな。私も自分の部屋をこっちに
Yeah,
持ち
no,
た
I
ぜ。
wish I wasn't in the big luxurious mansion. I'd much rather be in the small guest house. That's for sure.
マリアも持ちたい。持ちたい。
I guess you could say my own house was upper class, but to me, it felt completely ordinary compared to the head family. The display of wealth was shocking, as was the fact that they'd built this kind of awesome guest house for guests who came only a few times a year.
エヴァ様、秀吉様、こちらのお部屋をお使いくださいませ。ルドルフ様、キリエ様はこちらのお部屋をお使いくださいませ。
Oh, yes, I think I get my own room.
やっぱりここは綺麗で上品でいいわ。洋風って本当に素敵だわ。
ほんの2、3日なら洋風もええやろが、ずっといて落ち着くのは断固和風やで。日本人は畳の上が一番くつろげるんや。
新しい家を和風にするか洋風にするかで喧嘩してね。
Make it Western
お父さん
style.
が和風で着工させたのを母さんまだ根に持ってよく言い合いを
Or
する
make
ん
it
だよ。
both.
ジョージ兄さんのところは両親仲が良くて羨ましいぜ。
Oh, yeah, no, I don't think
う
her
ちなんか
parents.
冷め切った
Yeah.
もんさ。そのくせ私の成績の話だけは連帯しやがる。
Oh, yes, she was talking earlier about like how OC does his study. Sad. All the rooms seemed to be for two people. I was grateful since I wasn't going to be forced to share the same room with the old bastard under the pretext that we were a family. And anyway, I figured that those two wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves with someone like me around. Hehe.
何気持ち悪い顔で笑ってんのよ。どうせ下世話なこと考えてるんでしょう。
Yes.
下世話なんてとんでもない。
That means
どう
yes.
ぞごゆっくりお過ごしくださいませ。あ、はい、いえたよ、クソ親父。
Once again, Dad pulled my ears from behind.
バカなこと言ってんじゃねえ。俺胃がキリキリ痛み始めてて、とてもそんな元気はわかねえぜ。
I hate him.
今回はお前が主賓だろうが、せいぜい親父や兄貴たちに可愛がられろよ。親父の前では言葉遣いにだけ気をつけろ。あの人、本当にシャレが通じねえからな。ジェシカちゃん、我らが当主様のご機嫌は最近どうなんだ？
去年から相変わらずかな。余命3ヶ月余命3ヶ月っ って割には相変わらずピンピン
What?
カリカリイライラしてるって話です。
今年も相変わらず不機嫌ってわけね。
Oof.
おもりができるのはやっぱり源氏さんだけなの？
親方様も源氏さんにだけは心を許しておいで
Wasn't
の
he
よ
the
うです。
person from before?
私たち
Like in
下
the
々では
prologue?
近頃はお目通りすらなかなか叶わず。
また書斎に閉じこもって怪しげな黒魔術三昧じゃない
Black
のかな。
magic? What?
何をやろうとてめえの趣味だから構わねえけど、匂いが立ち込める系は勘弁してほしいもんだぜ。ついでにそのまま書斎から永久に出てくんなってんだ。
Watch him just come up from behind, just like hello.
年長の人にそんな言い方をするもんじゃないよ。後宮家を復興させてくれた大恩人なんだから、もっと感謝しないと。
Oh my god, my nose is so itchy. I know it's like the most random comment ever about this entire scenario, but like, oh my god.
ごめん。
I don't know if you can hear me doing it, but I'm like scratching my nose. After being rebunked by George and Nikki, Jessica had no choice but to take back her thoughtless remark. The Ushiromya family was wealthy beyond belief, but of course that meant all of its members were a bit strange, completely out of touch with the world at large. And at the top of the chain, the family head, her grandfather, seemed especially strange and terrifying, even for our family. Dad said he was getting a stomach ache earlier, and I imagine that that reflected the honest feeling of all the adults here today. No doubt they were jealous of us grandchildren who could just play around and laugh without care. From the stories Dad told me, the family head was a violent man who ruled with his fists, beating his children, even his daughters, mercilessly with a wooden sword. If he was so strict and uptight about that, why couldn't they have been a little more conservative with his kids' names? Because of that, even us grandkids have to suffer. Anyway, I can't say I have any trouble believing those terrifying stories about him. I don't remember meeting him very often, but I think I recall him looking extremely grumpy all the time, always making people cower with the sharp gaze of his. I remember that the room's atmosphere got so tense whenever he was around, you couldn't even breathe. What my dad said about me being the guest of honor now carries a little more oomph to me.
6年前は俺も小学生だったが、さすがに今は高校生だ。失礼のある態度なんか取ったら大変なことになるかもしれねえな。
Yes, I say we start by burning down the stupid guest house.
怖い怖い。
確かにこわもてだけど、そんなに硬くなるほど怖い人じゃないよ。決して理不尽なことは言ってないもん。口下手なだけでちゃんと筋は通す人だよ。
ジョージ兄さんは昔から成績優秀で一族の鏡じゃねえかよ。私たちとじゃ
Not just that,
ジ
your
ョー様の待
behavior.
遇が全然違うぜ。私なんか木刀で引っ叩かれたことあるしよ。尻だぜ尻。
Oh my ass.
そ
What
れ
a
も
great
乙女の
line.
生尻をよ。
ジェシカちゃんは本家の跡取り娘だもん。おじい様も特に目をかけてくれてるんだよ。
Well, that's a good
そ
definition
の
of
厳し
special
さは
attention.
期待の気持ちの裏返しだと思わなくちゃ。
冗談じゃねえぜ。その跡取りってやつはジョージ兄さんに譲るよ。私が担ぐにはちょいとしんどいぜ。
I think I already said it before, but Jessica's the girl heir to the head family. We're only cousins in Brand's family, so she probably feels a total different sort of pressure than we do.
ほう、ジェシカお姉ちゃんが重い？マリアが持ったら軽くなる？うんサンキューな。大丈夫。マリアちゃんには押し付けねえよ。この十字架は私が墓まで背負ってくよ。安心しなって。
She was grateful for Maria's innocent concern, but Jessica's face still seemed to contain some of the uneasiness he felt towards the future. Maybe we're in the same boat. Any high schooler with exams approaching would have trouble hiding their anxiety for the future.
マリアいらっしゃい。お母さんとマリアはこの部屋よ。
バトラ君は僕と一緒にこっちの部屋だってさ。
Oh, damn, nice room.
なになに？こりゃ驚いた。親たちの部屋
There's
よ
no
り広いじゃ
pillows
ないの
though.
よ。わお。
どうせいとこ同士で集まるだろうと思ってよ。大きめの部屋にするように言っておいたんだ。おお、 リアもこっちがいい。ママと一緒よりこっちがいい。
そうか、マリアもこっちがいいか。よし、ここは俺とジョージ兄貴の部屋だが、特別お母さんには内緒だぞ。
Aunt Rosa was right behind us, but Maria still answered, striking the air with her fists clenched tight. After setting down their luggage in their rooms, her parents had gathered again in the corridor.
おいガキども、お前らはどうする？
Kill you?
ここでいとこ同士おしゃべりでもしてるか？
Yes. It seemed they were heading to the mansion to announce their arrival. Normally they would make us follow them and greet everyone together. But if it had been that case, Dad would have just told us to come and that'd be the end of it. He's saying it's okay if we don't come, so what will we do? Or do I get a
どうせもう
choice?
すぐお昼や。子供はそこでくつろいでたらええ。そ
Yeah,
れに
I like
表
that
で遊べる
attitude.
のは下手をすると今のうちだけかもしれんしの。
マリアも行く。
マリアはここでお留守番してなさい。いたずらをしないでおとなしく待ってるのよ。
Since Maria was being told to house sit here, we certainly couldn't leave her on her own. George and Nikki noticed this immediately and gave her a clear reply for all of us cousins.
じゃあ僕たちはお言葉に甘えて留守番1年ぶりに積もる話もあるしね。
それがいいわ。バトラ君なんか6年分積もってるんだしね。
Oh, sit. Yeah, no, Battler.
へいへい。
He's been gone for
お子
6
ちゃま
years.
な俺はおとなしくお留守番してるぜ。
熊沢さん、私もこっちに残るからよ。あとは大人に任せて若者は退散してるぜ。
それがおよろしいでしょう。奥様にはそのようにお伝えいたします。
それでは皆様、お屋敷の方へご案内させていただきます。どうぞこちらへ。
他の子はともかく、ジョージは成人してるんだから連れて行った方がいいんじゃない？
Tell her to fuck off. He is the best one
そん
here.
なんでジョージだけ仲間外れ
Well,
は
actually,
かわ
no.
い
I
そうや
think George is my second favorite. Battler is definitely the
いとこ
first.
同士の交流も大事や。
Honestly, I kind of like all the
ほら、行
cousins.
ってくるで。
Oh, and Eva and Hideyoshi are pretty good too. I don't like Rudolf and the other person that I forget their name. Rose is okay, but we haven't seen a lot of her. The adults left one after the other. They left in the same formation as their trip from the harbor, with Goda-san leading and Kumasawa-san taking up the rear. As we got in the room assigned to us cousins, George and Nikki asked us to excuse him for a second. He rushed over to Kumamasa-san, who was following behind the disappearing adults, and he seemed to ask her something. He soon finished his business and came back.
どうしたんだよ、兄貴。
ああ、なんでもないよ。ちょっと聞きたいことがあっただけさ。
You must tell it the group.
マリアにも聞いて。マリアにも聞いて。何かな。ジョージ兄さんが私に聞かなくて熊沢さんには聞くことってなあ、全然見当がつかねえぜ。
What kind of shenanigans are afoot?
いや、誤解だよ。
Oh, it's something embarrassing.
ジェシカちゃんが何を誤解してるのか知らないけど。
Aneki was getting pretty tongue-tied. It was almost as though he felt guilty about something and Jessica knew exactly what he was worried about. At any rate, it's still fun if Jessica gets to know about it and not me.
なあ、マリア。俺たちだけのけ者なんてねえよな。何の話か聞きてえよな。
バトラとマリアも聞きたい。バトラとマリアも聞きたい。
I fooled around while oohing together with Maria.
いや、だから大したことじゃ。
Jessica, you must tell. You're the only person who can
さ
tell.
つけ。兄貴にしちゃ嘘が下手だぜ。拍手し
Oh,
や
and they
が
have
れ
him surrounded.
マリア、お前は右脇をくすぐれ。俺は左脇だ。
マリアは右脇だ。バトラは左脇だ。
ちょっと二人ともやめてやめ
Stop. Maria and I played around chasing George and Nikki as he tried to escape rolling on the bed. I realized high schoolers aren't supposed to be bounce around like kittens, but I still miss this kind of fun. A warm, cozy kind of fun.
ジョージ兄さんが熊沢さんに聞いたのはね、まあほらあれだぜ。
We will peer pressure it out of
兄
you.
さんも本家は1年ぶりだからよ。その間に辞めた使用人とか入った使用人とか、そういうのがいたら挨拶したいって、そういうことらしいぜ。
Wait, servants?
おお、挨拶する。マリアも挨拶する。
What are they talking about?
なんだよそれ。全然やましくねえじゃねえかよ兄貴。違うなマリア、騙されるな。兄貴は何か隠してるぞ。尋問再開だ。
Yes, I agree.
おりゃやめてよ本当に。
Tell us your secret.
もうやめて。
多分掃除とか昼飯の準備とかで忙しいんだよ。大丈夫。後でちゃんと挨拶に来るぜ。ゴーダの出しゃばりの出迎えよりシャノンの出迎えの方が良かったって言うんだろ。
Wait, Shannon. Wait, hold up. Hold up. Cannon. Oh, yeah, Shannon. Wait. Hold up. Does he have, like, a thing with the other servant? Because that's kind of where I'm getting at this. Like, this kind of seems like a, oh, you have a crush on them thing. I don't know if that's true or not, but let's see what happens.
シャノン？シャノン。思い出したぜ。そんな子もいたな。今も使用人やってんのか？元気かよ。
Huh? I thought I was back on the title screen for a second. I was about to laugh.
そういや夏日姉さん、
I legit thought my entire progress was like gone or something.
最近頭痛の方はどうなんや。一時だいぶしんどそうにしとったろ。
おかげで最近はだいぶ調子がいいです。
Oh, wait, this is a new character.
心配をしてくれてありがとう。
Who are you? Give me your character
そうだ
bio.
これ。
Surrender it.
いつもありがとう。あなたには何かをもらってばかりね。これは紅茶？
ペパーミントとレモンバームのハーブティー。頭痛によく効くって有名なお店のブレンドなの。姉さんにも効くかなって思って。
Surrender your character bio. Rosa was always a conscientious woman, probably because she was the youngest of the four and much younger than the other three. She managed to grow up without getting the venomous nature of her siblings. Her kind words got Natsu to soften her expression for just a moment, but it wasn't enough to melt her stony gaze, hardened as it was by the long years of mental stress.
そういえばあなた、いっつも頭痛だって言ってたわね。しっかりなさいな。ジェシカちゃん、今年は受験でしょ？人生の節目じゃない。母親のあなたがそんなじゃ頼りないわよ。それに夏日姉さん、私より3つも若いんだから、もうちょっとしっかりなさい。ごめんなさい。生まれつきの頭痛持ちなもので。
Even under normal circumstances, Eva sometimes failed to choose her words carefully, but her comments aimed at Natsu contained surge of obvious malice, though she hid it with a smile. Of course, that fact didn't escape Natsu. She frankly contained her urge to grimace and pretending to ignore Eva.
うちのバトラ君も今年は受験でしょ？ルドルフさんも少しは関心を持ったら？自分の息子のために夏日姉さんみたいに頭痛になるくらい真剣になりなさいよ。
俺が何か言えば必ず反抗するやつだぜ。じゃあなんて言うんだ。むしろ逆で遊んでていいぞっていうのか？あいつそういうのだけは素直に聞きやがるぜ。秀吉兄さんのところは受験本当にうまくいったじゃないですか。ぜひ子供操縦術の秘訣を教えてくださいよ。
そうやな。何のために勉強するのかっちゅうことを説いたかもしれんな。個々の勉強に意味があるわけやないんや。 そう勉強っちゅうのはわからんことを自分で調べて身につけるという行為の練習なんや。これができんやつは社会に出ても使い物にならん。国語算数ができると言ってるんやない。勉強し身につけることを学べっちゅうことやな。
ご立派ですわ。うちのジェシカにもそれが理解できればいいんだけど、今のままではとてもじゃないけど、
Wait, did I get the character bio?
としては
No, I didn't get the character bio. God damn it.
いいじゃないの、無理に後取りにしなくても。女には女の幸せというものもあるんだし、それを親が押し付けちゃ悪いわよ。
予算買えば子供の育て方は家それぞれや。押し付けがましいのはあかんで。
ごめんなさい。夏日姉さんも気を悪くしないでね。
Do they not have anything better to talk about than their kids studying? Though the light shining in through the windows was quite warm despite the cloudy weather, there was a dark mood about the room, which was probably causing headaches for more than just Natsui. As if to sweep away that mood, Kiri brightly made a suggestion to all present.
でも本当に素敵な香りの紅茶ね。早速いただいてみましょうよ。レオポルドの紅茶なんて日本じゃ確か銀座でしか買えなかったはずよ。
キリエ姉さんはお詳しいですね。買ってきた甲斐がありました。
Kiri and Rosa stood up from their seats and made it as if to prepare the black tea, but Natsui forestalled them.
お二人ともありがとう。それは後でいただきましょう。うちの者がすぐお茶を持ってきますので、どうぞおくつろぎください。
二人とも後にしろよ。ウェルカムドリンクくらいごちそうになろうぜ。
Rudolf gave a subtle signal with his eyes for them to sit down again. Kiri and Rosa understood instantly and obediently returned to their seats. The initial greeting of the guests was complete, so it was time for them to be served some tea. It was embarrassing for the host that the tea was late, especially now that the guests were talking about making tea themselves. Naturally bitter, lower lip frustrated by the ineptitude of the servants who were late bringing in the tea. Seeing her face, Eva immediately started to giggle. Of course, Shannon had no way of knowing what was taking place in the parlor. She came pushing a serving cart filled with teacups. For no apparent reason, Natsui gave her a pained look and Shannon couldn't help but flinch without knowing what she had done wrong.
失礼いたします。お茶のご用意をさせていただきます。
おう、シャノンちゃん、久しぶりやの。ますますべっぴんさんになりよったな。
いえ、どうも。
Okay, so Canon is the depressed emo teen, and if she is a teen, then she's the nervous, I don't know, teen. That's good to know.
おしゃべりは配膳を済ませてからになさい。お茶が冷めます。
Oh my god, she's a bitch to the servant.
申し訳ございません、奥様。
She apologized like a small frightened animal, bumped against the serving cart, and made a jarring racket as she dropped several teaspoons. Her clumsiness made Natsu's expression turn even darker, which made Shannon quail even more.
いいのよ、夏日姉さん。挨拶の一つくらいしたってどうってことないわよ。もう十分待たされてる分、十分お茶も冷めてるもの。
She kind of reminds me of Takano just a little.
それは大丈夫です。冷めてはおりませんので。
シャノン、早く配膳を済ませなさい。
失礼しました、奥様。
Natsui's irritation was obvious by now. Irritation. Why did I say irritation? The aptitude that delayed the tea, the clumsiness of the servant, everything pointed at the incompetence of Natsu's everyday leadership, making her lost face. Lose face. I'm butchering now. As the person in charge of the Ushiromiya head family's kitchen, allowing that clumsiness to be exposed today of old days was surely nothing less than total humiliation.
よせよ、夏日姉さん。シャノンちゃんだって頑張ってるのに、いじめちゃかわいそうだぜ。
いじめてなんかいません。
Yes, you were.
いい香りね。お茶の銘柄を聞いてもいいかしら。
申し し訳ございません。
Wait, where's the
後ほど
text?
調べてまいります。
Okay, a little delayed there. Kiria was trying to be nice, hoping to cut through the tense mood. However, Sanon had embarrassed herself instead, darkening Natsui's face and the room's mood. By this point, Eva was audibly giggling.
なーにシャノンちゃん、自分で入れてるものが何かもわからないの？ダメよ。そんな怪しげなものを来客に振る舞っちゃ。
Yeah, no, she's definitely like talking to him.
こんなお茶じゃ銀のスプーンでもないと飲めないわよ。
すみません。すぐに用意を。
ねえシャノンちゃん、銀のスプーンって何に使うか知ってる？銀じゃないとダメなのよ。なぜかわかる？
いえ、
A teasing smile rose to Eva's face as she stared at Sanon getting the table. By itself, Eva's expression was sweat in an impish sort of way. However, the words spun from her lip, held the keenness of a razor within them. Sanon tried with all of her might to avoid Eva's continuing gaze. Realizing that Sanon was pressured for an answer, Rosa gave some timely help.
銀は毒に触れると曇るって言われてるの。シャノンちゃんも一つお勉強ができたわね。
They were acting as though this tea needed to be tested for poison before it could be drunk. In Natsui's eyes, this was an insult both to the tea and to herself for serving it. Rudolf laughed flippantly and patted Eva's shoulder.
姉貴に銀食器なんていらねえだろ。毒舌の姉貴が一舐めしたら銀の皿だって真っ黒に曇っちまうぜ。
わしはその毒舌を毎日聞かされとるからもう毒に耐性がついてしもたわ。エヴァもわし相手には構わんが耐性のない相手にはちいと加減せんとな。
あらあらひどい。シャノンちゃんにお茶の知識を教えてあげただけじゃない。
Everyone followed the lead set by Hideyoshi's horse laugh and chuckled though not easily. Only Natsui didn't join in, but for the time being the conversation inside the parlor could now be mistaken for a lively and friendly chat. As Sanon finally finished setting the tea on the table and tried to leave, Kiria apologized to her in a low voice for not being able to help. Sanon gave a light bow and made a hasty retreat. Sanon cast her eyes downwards as she pushed towards the cart down the corridor. Anyone seeing the pitiful way she looked might easily conclude that she'd been bullied in some way.
気を落とさないで。姉さんは何も悪くない。
見てたのね。
そういうお役目だから。奥様もエヴァ様も地獄へ落ちろ。でも、それより卑劣なのはあいつだ。
Cannon glared hatefully in the opposite direction of the parlor. The preparations for the tea had been delayed by some trifling problems in the kitchen. These problems were not Sanon's fault. In fact, it had been Goda's mistake. After all, there was no way a show-off like Goda would give up a flashy job like bringing in tea when the guests arrived. He had ended up wasting time preparing the tea once again. So when he realized he wouldn't be able to score any points for this job, he pushed the task off setting the table on Sanon, who happened to be passing by. You might call it a clever move on his part, but there could be no doubt that it was a cowardly one.
いいの。ありがとう、カノン君。私、全然気にしていないし。
I think you were. Cannon's silence vividly expressed the distance between Sanon's words and how she exactly felt.
カノン君だけでも分かってくれたんで、ちょっと心が楽になったかな。
姉さん、
Are these two
心に色々
novel-weighted?
溜め込みすぎる。
Oh no, Nissan. Okay, they're definitely.
たまには自分に優しくしてあげて。
I was about to say there's no way they can have names like that without being
あ
related.
りがとうね。
Suddenly, they both felt someone's presence and whirled around. A middle-aged man stood there. It was Gainsey, the head servant.
そこで何をしている、シャノン。早く厨房に戻りなさい。
あ、失礼いたしました。
Sanon humbly obeyed and promptly made to push the cart and leave. However, Cannon appealed to Genji in silence, bearing something in his eyes that he could not express in words.
どうした？何かあったか？
シャノンは何も悪くないのに、あいつら。
やめてカノン君。
I feel like a servant rebellion is possible.
すぐに仕
If
事に戻
anyone
ります
dies, I'm going to both think it's
カノン
canon.
君も自
But
分の持
there's
ち場
no
に戻っ
way
て
that it won't be him.
お願い。
姉さんがそう言うなら。
何事もないならそうしなさい。
はい、失礼します。
From the shadows in the hallway, an old woman wearing an apron watched over them. It was Kurosawa.
おいたわしや。
Wait,
シャノン
was it?
さん、
Was the
あの
text
二
like
人がいじ
this?
められる理由は何もないのです。しかし、ゴーダさんに嫌われて
Why
い
did
る
it
の
just
は
change
紛れもない事実。
Regular format?
ゴーダさんは後宮本家へいらっしゃられるまで、どこかの立派なホテルにお勤めだったそうです。そこで身につけられたというお仕事ぶりは、そりゃ大したものだとは思います。ただ、ゴーダさんはここでは最も年季の短い死を、ご自身のそれまでの積み重ねによるプライドもあられたのでしょう。彼は自分より長い年季を持ちながらも、未熟で人生経験も及ばないシャノンさんとカノン君をことあるごとにいびられるのです。また気の毒なことに、夏日奥様にも嫌われております。
I feel horrible for
もちろ
them.
ん年季という意味では奥様
Oh
の
my
方が
God, the
長
poor
くこの
servants.
家におられます。ただこればかりは奥様にも同情しなくてはなりません。本当に親方様も罪作りな方でございます。ご自身のちょっとした気まぐれが奥様にこれほどまでの劣等感をお与えになる。もちろん奥様とて内心はあの二人に辛く当たる言われは何もないことを重々承知してはおります。しかしそれが理屈で分かっているからといってどうにもならないのが、ああ、ほいたわしや。私には何もできず。
I feel like that's all you've been doing this game so far is just watching everyone from the shadows and creeping them out. Oh. Nani? Nani? Something gonna happen? Did I just do something good? Was it something bad? Oh, never mind. Time just passed by. The four of us cousins were enjoying our stories, just shooting the breeze. Anyway, there were both girls and guys here. Plus, we had people over a wide spread of ages, adult, high school, and elementary school. Even if we just talked about our own lives, the other three kept listening attentively.
なんかやっと馴染んできたぜ。ジェシカもマリアも6年前からは想像もつかないくらい成長しちまったからよ。正直なところ少しだけ違和感を持ってたんだが、こうして話をしているうちに中身はあの頃からない。
同じ言葉を返してやるよ。バトラだって6年ぶりだってのに全然変わってねえぜ。図体がいくらでかくなっても中身は相変わらずお子様だってことだ。
Well, yeah, so are you. You're kinda like the new Mion.
マリアもお子様。マリアもお子様。
マリアだっていつまでもお子様じゃねえぞ。お子様から可愛いお姫様に成長してくんだからな。そうしたらまな板みてえな胸もすぐジェシカ並みになるぞ。そしたら揉ませてくれよ。
Oh no, no, don't say that to the younger cousin.
揉ませる。約束する。
Oh no.
ダメだよマリアちゃん、そんな約束しちゃダメ。
約束したから揉ませる。
Oh my god.
絶対守る。
マリア、お前本当に素直ないい子だな。お前と結婚する未来の旦那さんはきっと幸せ者だぜ。
っていい話にすり替えつつ約束を保持してんじゃねえぜ。マリア、その約束はなし。なし。
約束取り消し？お
ー。やっぱりバトラ君も揃って4人で集まらないといとこが集合した気がしなかったね。
Yeah, no, the pervert had to be here.
この6年はやっぱり寂しかったよ。
そうだな。こういうふざけた話にはならなかったな。でも建設的な話はできてたと思ったぜ。将来に対する心構えとか受験とか就職とかよ。
へっへー、悪うございましたね。俺が来たらおまぬけなドタバタばっかりでよ。
でもマリアは今年のが楽しい。
そうだね、僕も同感。今年が一番楽しいよ。
Maria's sincere words probably spoke for everyone present. George and Nikki stroked Maria's head and she giggled like a happy kitten. Ah, yes. I wonder what's up.
失礼いたします。
Oh, Shannon.
お食事のご用意ができました。
George is probably going to just go crazy. At a timid knocking sound in the equally timed voice of a young woman came through the door. Jessica answered brightly.
シャノン、入れよ。バトラは覚えてるだろ?
Unless I was wrong about George and Shannon. If so, I'm embarrassed. But I'm pretty sure I'm right about that. Jessica stood up from the bed and opened the door. There stood a servant girl who must have been about her age.
ご無沙汰いたしております。バトラ様、6年ぶりでございます。シャノンです。
Trembling a little as he noticed me, she bowed deeply.
ジェシカにも驚かされたが、あんたもすっかり美人になったじゃねえのよ。
もったいないお言葉。
Give me the character bio.
この島じゃよっぽど食事の栄養価が高いんじゃねえのか？何を食ってどこを鍛えたらそんなにでっかいお胸になるんだか。ジェシカとどっちがでけえかちょいと触って確かめさせてもらうぜ。
With both hands poised and saliva dripping from my mouth, I closed in. For the sake of the justice of my personal honor, I'd like to point out that I don't suffer from some strange disease that makes my lymph nodes inch until I scratch my neck open, and which I can only be preventing by... Oh my god. This is horrible. So I can use this Battle Sama original technique to spark a gag like that and break the ice. Well, it's... Wait, did he actually do it? Oh my god, he's actually doing it. No! Oh my god, he's actually doing it. No, oh my god. Hey, I wasn't planning on this. Please hit me right now, or I'm seriously gonna... Which is why I'm glad that Jessica chose the time to drive her elbow into the back of my head.
ジェシカ、ありがとうよ。
なんで私が感謝されんだ？
いやいや、すまんぜシャノンちゃん。魅力的な胸に思わず吸着されそうになっちまった。
Okay, I like how everyone likes to joke around that Keiichi is like the perverted protagonist, but just look at him. He...
つうか、さすがにあの間合いまで来たら犯罪確定だろ。
Yeah, no, you are at this
抵
point.
抗しなきゃよ。
ですけど、バトラ様は大切なお客様です
Doesn't mean he
し。
can just do that.
あのな、お客様でも犯罪は犯罪。女の子の胸はだいたい10センチくらいからが防空識別圏だな。
Oh my
2センチ圏まで
god.
侵入してきたら、これはもう領空侵犯だぜ。スクランブル発進で即ビンタを食らわせてやれ。
そんなことできません。私たちはその。
Of course he didn't want to... Oh my god. This is just horrible. A girl like this needs some urgent protection.
今時こんな献身美徳な子がいるとは軽いめまいすら覚えるぜ。でもダメだ、ダメなんだ。俺がいやらしい顔で迫る。ハッタウスいやエッチ。そういうお約束じゃないとオチがつかねえんだよ。こうバチンと。
お願いは聞けません。家具ですから。でも 命令ならお聞きします。それが務めですから。
じゃあ命令させてもらう。次からバトラ君が胸に触ろうとしてきたら平手打ちで反撃すること。
Oh, that's gonna cause conflict later. Watch him do it in front of someone, and that is just like, oh, servant just attacked someone.
仰せつかりました。以後そのようにさせていただき、バトラ様ご承知おきくださいませ。
San announced this while bowing elegantly to me. Her expression was radiant. I gave her a thumbs up to show her that I was fine with that.
6年前はお手伝いさんの連れ子がついでにお手伝いみたいな印象だったんだけど、すっかり一人前の使用人さんだな。今年で何年になるんだ？
はい、おかげさまで10年ほどお使いさせていただいております。
Oh yes, I finally got the bio. That's the bio noise. The kanji for her name is read as Sanin. Now here's another name that's far from typical for a Japanese person. Back in the day, I was a kid myself, so I accepted her name without paying it much attention. Thinking about it now though, her name's pretty unusual, even though she's not a member of the Ushiromiya family. Maybe it's like a servant's professional name or something. If so, that might explain why her name is so similar to Kanin-kun, that kid I met earlier in the Rose Garden. She's a long-term servant who served here since she was 6 years old. Her appearance had changed so much that I couldn't match her to the person of my memories, but we both knew each other 6 years ago. That side part of her had always been there, but she did seem to have developed the allure you'd expect of a girl her age, especially in her... Oh my god.
さっき会ったカノ君は彼女の弟なんだよ。
Yes, they are related.
弟というわけでは。でも私のことを姉と慕ってくれます。
Like a big sister.
何か失礼なことはしませんでしたか？相変わらずいつも通りだぜ。もうちょっと愛想よくすればいいのによ。もったカノン君がご迷惑をおかけしたようで申し訳ござい。
別に迷惑なんか何も。同じ男としてわかるさ。ありゃ気難しい年頃だ。
Yeah, people can get really
愛想
moody.
が悪いのは当たり前だぜ。
マリアもよく言われる。愛想悪いって言われる。カノンと一緒。マリア様は愛想悪くなんかありません。一緒がよかった。
食事の準備ができたんだっけ？
はい、失礼いたしました。お食事のご用意が整いましたので、皆様をお屋敷へご案内いたします。
Shannon bowed again, formally and returned to her duty mode. We realized that if we made her stick around for any more light conversation, it would actually make it harder for her to do her job. We got up off our butts to avoid interfering with her work any further. And we are going to end here next time. We shall have this meal, and hopefully it will be a lot of fun, and hopefully nothing will go wrong. Actually, no, I'm kind of hoping things do go wrong. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye.